Have you heard the saying, debt is the root of all evils? It is partially true, because when you are in debt, your life is over. And since no one lends money for free, there is always interest. So your debts are growing every day. Despite this, the United States has accepted that the total amount of consumer debt in the country is close to $15 trillion, bringing the average household debt to nearly $15,000 per person. The United States economy is made up entirely of its slightly over $21 trillion gross domestic product. However, there is some good news that you should know because the majority of our debt is bad debt. You presumably owe money on credit cards, a car loan, and even student loans. You estimate that it will take decades to pay off all your debts. Why would anyone with a lot of money use debts in the first place? Debts are supposed to be used by people who don't have money, but that's not how capitalism works. Debts are a powerful tool if you know how to use them. And in this video, you'll find out how. First and foremost, the majority of trade is founded on that. It may sound a little contentious because, in my opinion, borrowing money to launch a business is a terrible idea. But there are some industries, particularly the traditional ones, where doing so is your best bet. In the ideal world, you would fly to China to locate a factory that makes that type of pen with good quality and the right price. Buy a container of pens, ship them to the US, and distribute them to your client. However, nowadays, most of that is done online through websites like Alibaba, unless it's a more complicated product, in which case you have to fly to that factory. However, here is the problem. Selling is one of the greatest skills you can learn. And refinancing real estate debts is the best kind of debt because it's full of loopholes. You're basically telling the factory you know how to produce it, so let me help you sell it. If I can sell it for anything above this price, then that's going to be my profit. What makes this strategy great is that you're not trying up your own money in this transaction. You are paying more taxes if you don't have a mortgage. Remember that every dollar you were intended to pay in taxes, but instead saved, is an additional dollar earned. So that's another method wealthy individuals become even wealthier. However, let me tell you a more sensible strategy to increase your wealth instead. If we're being honest, saving $250,000 is peanuts. You can't even afford to buy a house. And since you have to put down 20% of the purchase price, you can't get a mortgage up to $850,000. This is basically how wealthy people become wealthy in real estate. But here's the trick. Let's say you find a property for $500,000 that needs possibly a lot of renovation. You go to a bank and apply for a mortgage with a 20% down payment. Let's say you plan to spend about 10% of the home's total cost, or about $50,000 on renovation. You visit your bank once more, but this time you want to refinance your mortgage. When you got your first mortgage, the value of that property was only $50,000 because no one wanted to live there due to its poor condition. However, now that you have renovated it, there are people who want to rent it out. So the market value of that property, let's say, has increased to $700,000. The first bank that provided you with the first mortgage will receive a portion of that money. And after subtracting the $50,000 you spent on renovations, you will have an additional profit of $100,000. With that money, you were able to purchase a property that you can rent out in order to build equity and generate passive income. In addition, real estate investors frequently avoid paying taxes since they have mortgages. Can you really see now that this is bad? I'll leave that question for you to respond in the comment section below. Next are hedge funds. Hedge funds are created by the wealthy for the wealthy, in order to make the wealthy even richer. And they typically employ unconventional strategies. While mortals like me and you do our best to predict which companies will grow and increase in value and invest the money we work so hard to earn in these companies in the hopes that they will, hedge funds frequently employ an entirely different approach. They attempt to profit when businesses fail or go out of business, as it happened with GameStop. However, in that case, the internet forced hedge funds to lose over $13 billion. How do hedge funds earn money with debt though? Let's say you anticipate that a particular stock, such as Facebook, will fall because you know that the most popular smartphone manufacturer, Apple, will announce next week that it will no longer permit apps to track you, such as Facebook or Instagram. Track your online activity and put your privacy first, which will seriously harm Facebook's business model. So you pick up the phone and call your broker to borrow a single Facebook stock from him that costs, say, $100 per share. Congratulations! You now have $100 in your pocket, but you still owe your broker for one Facebook stock. If, however, you are correct and the price of Facebook stock drops to $70 the following week, you can use that $100 to purchase one Facebook stock at the lower price and return it to your broker for the difference. Though it seems straightforward in theory, doing so is really challenging. What occurs if you are mistaken? When you buy a stock and try to sell it when it rises, the most you can lose is the amount you invested in, but not when you short it. What happens if the price doubles overnight? You'll still have to return that single Facebook stock to your broker and pay interest for borrowing that stock. Now you have to buy that stock back for $200, then return it to your broker. Although, theoretically, you could lose all of your money because the stock price could theoretically grow endlessly. If you had 100 analysts working for you, you could make a fortune employing this method. Next is Forex. Here's how it works in brief. Forex is a market where currencies are traded, making it feasible for you to engage in international trade. There is a market where anyone or any company can come in and purchase foreign currencies, and based on various factors, these currencies fluctuate. For instance, Fed raising interest rates will limit the supply of the dollar in the market and make the US dollar stronger against other currencies or vice versa. So if you can predict which currencies will rise or fall, you can make a lot of money. You can see that credit score is a powerful tool that every successful business or entrepreneur uses in a variety of ways. This is absolutely true if you have a proven business model. And lastly, borrowing money to finance purchase orders is something that practically every business does. Of course, debts with a high interest rate like credit card debts are terrible, but in order to get a lower interest rate, you have to minimize the risk of loan. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new around here, please subscribe and turn on your notifications. See you again soon.